Howdy.
That's us. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, how you doing? We are live. We're live on YouTube, and we're also live on my platform, Tool Trader, which we've talked about on this channel before a few times. Tool Trader is a platform for buying and selling woodworking tools, mostly used, mostly vintage woodworking tools, and it's a place where people who do woodworking can connect with each other and buy and sell tools at really good prices for low fees, and there's a nice community and everything. It's fun. And on the subject of Tool Trader, I have today something that I bought on Tool Trader. I bet you can't guess what it is, but it's something that I've had for a few weeks, and I've been saving it because I wanted to unbox it live on camera. The seller packed it up like Fort Knox, so it's going to take me a second to get in here. I'm also trying a new microphone today because the iPhone mic, not great. So if you guys have any problems with the sound, too quiet, clipping, anything, just drop a comment in there. Nate, who is my fantastic editor, who you guys know, is off screen. He's monitoring the chat. He'll pass along questions and stuff like that.
Hello.
If there are technical problems, I'm going to yell at him, and he's going to get confused and flustered and possibly solve them. I don't know. So let's tear this thing open. I mean, I know what it is, but you guys don't. Let's start getting into this, though. I hope everybody is having a good holiday season. The holidays are super stressful. They're stressful for me. I have an 11-year-old daughter. If you have a young daughter, you know what that's like. And, you know, making Christmas happen for a kid is never easy. So my wife and I are in the midst of that. So I hope your holidays aren't too terribly stressful. I do want to tell you that what we're going to be doing later today, later during this live stream, is we're going to be doing a live auction on Tool Trader. Nate, should I show the stuff now? Should I tell people what we're selling now?
Stick with the unboxing.
Stick with the unboxing?
But I did want to say that the Preston already has a couple bids on it.
I bet it does. Yeah, we're going to get there. So I'll show the stuff in just a second. Let me unbox for another minute, and then I'll show. You know what? I'm going to show one thing. Okay, one of the things we're live auctioning is a Stanley number 80 cabinet scraper. And all these auctions, we're doing 3 really nice vintage tools. This is by far the least exciting of them. One of them is like super, super exciting. And they're all going to be live auctions. They're going to start and end during this live stream. No reserve, no opening bid, and some of this is stuff that people are going to really want to own. So go over to tooltrader.net right now and sign up and put in your payment information. It takes 30 seconds. It's not an exaggeration. It's super easy to get an account and put in your PayPal details or whatever. That's what you need to bid when we do the auction. And these are live auctions, so they're going to be quick. The bidding's going to be over in a couple of minutes. So we're going to do that later in this live stream, and we're only going to stream for like maybe 40 minutes or an hour. So you don't have to hang around super long. Oh, and if you don't think you can hang with the stream for that long, go over to Tool Trader and sign up, and you can pre-bid on any of those 3 items, and the system will automatically bid for you up to your max bid. So you'll be right in there, and nobody will be able to see your bid. So let me get back to opening this thing up. So tooltrader.net if you want to try any of that out. Okay. Wow, this is a really good packing job. It's really custom. Okay. Oh. Nope. Nope. Yeah, cut it some more. Oh, there we go. Okay. Whew. Obviously, it's a hand plane, but more details await. So I bought this off of tooltrader.net. You might say that somebody like me having a tool buying and selling platform is like a drug addict owning a crack house. It's not a good idea. I go on there all the time, and I have to like physically restrain myself from buying a lot of stuff that's on there. But this one, I couldn't help myself. I had to do it. And this tool wasn't an auction. It was just a buy it now like you're familiar with from eBay, and the price was so good. I'll talk about it in a minute that I just had to do it. Okay. Oh man, it's just as good in person. So this is a wooden hand plane that's also a piece of folk art. So whoever made this plane not only made the plane, but they also nailed to it moons and stars that they cut out of scrap copper and scrap brass, which is unbelievable. And then the handle appears to be, so I think it's just painted wood. I think but it's not a Stanley knob. It's the wrong shape. So it's a wood knob, but it's been painted gold. And then the rest of this stuff isn't paint. These are actual metal moons and stars that were cut out and then tacked directly to the body. I couldn't believe it. Oh wow, and it's comfortable too. So the guy who I bought this from also told me that he's actually been using it. So in addition to being a totally insane piece of tool art, apparently it also works. So maybe during the course of our stream today, we'll also get it together. So here's the wedge, very simple, unpretentious. And then I think apparently the blade has some interesting things about it. So let's see what this looks like. I think it's just a Stanley iron. I don't think it's even a wooden plane iron. Let's see. There we go. Yeah. Is it a Stanley? Hold on. I brought a piece of steel wool just for this eventuality. Yeah, it's a Stanley, but it's an old Stanley. It's like super old. And then the hardware is weird. Look, it's got a bolt instead of a screw. I'm going to need a wrench or a pair of pliers to unscrew this. That was unexpected. People do some weird things with their tools. Okay, there we go, because I got to loosen this up because I need that chip breaker to be a little closer, oops, to the end of the iron. Let's see. Okay, so I'm gonna fit that on there. There we go. Oof.
So the knob isn't a doorknob?
I don't think so. I'm not. Now that you mention it, Nate, it actually might be. What do you think?
It doesn't. Well, it has a metallic feel, like kind of.
Kind of. I'm not sure. I'm going to scratch it in a minute, and we'll see if it's. I think it's wood that's been painted.
I don't know how with the doorknob though you'd get the screw that well in there.
I have no idea what's going on. It's also a little weird. Like most wooden planes don't have front knobs. So like, why did the user even feel like it needed one? I don't really get that either. And this is like, man, is this thing ever homemade? Like this mortise here is just hacked out. This is super, super wow. I haven't made a plane like this before. Like I haven't mortised one out because I'm always like, wow, that's hard. I don't know if I can do it. If this guy could do it, I could probably do it. This is very, wow. All right. And I forgot to mention, there's a nameplate in copper with the name and the date on it. So it says Pat Hennessy, or Hennessy maybe. Could be Hennessy. I think it's Peyton, Peitone, Illinois. Peyton, Illinois, 1932. So like 95 years ago. Somebody needed a plane, and rather than have to buy one or rather than be stopped by anything, this guy, Pat, made a plane. I honestly wish more people would put their names on their homemade planes and like the dates and stuff, because people want to know. They really do. There it is. There. So I got this at tooltrader.net and I paid $40 for it. And I don't even know if I paid shipping. It might have been free shipping. And I saw it and I was like, that plane is made for the internet. I have to buy this thing. Nate, I can't really see the comments. What is the reaction to this tool in the stream?
People love it.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
Yeah, other people are wondering if that's actually a doorknob. They think it looks sweet. You should make a video on making something like that.
Yeah, everybody wants me to, and honestly, the only thing that keeps me from doing it is low self-esteem and fear of failure. I know everybody wants me to make a plane, and I'm afraid that I'll just suck it, and it's going to be terrible. I think we should see if we can get this thing to take a shaving. I think that's the most fun thing we could do with this portion of the live stream. I'm going to get a forgiving piece of white pine because I don't really have time to. I don't have time to do a lot of sharpening here. And then the heat's going to turn on at some point during this stream. And I'm sorry, but you guys are going to have to put up with that because it is 17 degrees in Ohio today. It is absolutely awful, and we cannot have the heat off for an hour. It's just not going to work.
Yeah, somebody said, I would love to see you make a wooden plane with abutments and such from a solid block rather than a print-off or laminated.
Yeah, so people want to see me make a solid plane chiseled out with abutments and everything. And of course, I've read like every book on the subject. I've looked at all the articles. I've seen all the videos. I'm friends with literally a dozen plane makers, and every single one of them has been like, you could do it, just do it. And I keep not doing it because of fear of failure. Isn't that hilarious? I'm the guy who tells everybody else not to be afraid of failing, and I haven't made a mortised plane for that reason. So let's tighten that up. Oh, I think I have. So the wedge, weirdly, hold on. The wedge is a little tough to figure out. Oh, and nice job. I got it stuck in there. Well, looks like we're married to it. Let's see if it'll work. Oh my God, it works. That's incredible. Look at that. Hold on. Let's see. Nope. Usually that's what you can do to. Nope. All right, let me get a rubber mallet. I am trying to back it off a little, and I don't want to hit. Usually I would hit here, but I'm not going to hit there with a claw hammer on this doorknob, I guess. No, it's okay. We're going to do it. Yep. Totally just broke the plane straight in half. It happened. It happened here. You saw it here first, ladies and gentlemen. I just broke the plane in half. I did. I couldn't get the wedge back out, and I hit it, and it literally... Nate, can you get the other half?
Yeah. Oh my God, was it like shaved too thin on the sides or something?
Well, one thing that's weird about it is that it looks like it might have been made out of like softwood. Like the wood is really, it doesn't seem like a hardwood. It looks like, yeah, it looks like fur or something else. So, I mean, this is 100% my fault. I got the wedge in there too tight. And then I tried to get it out, you know, using techniques that I've used before, and I broke it. I mean, 100% my fault. But it's really interesting how, like, I own a couple dozen wooden planes, and you know, when I have a plane and a wedge that's stuck in there, what I usually do is get a soft mallet like this and give it a couple of whacks. So, you know, some of this is the non-standard construction and the plane getting a little bit stuck. And then also I've got forced air heat in my shop. And it could also be that the heat changed the plane a little bit, made it shrink and did something to it that made it a little bit more fragile. I take full responsibility for this, but man, this is the thing about going live. You don't know what's going to happen. You might unbox your plane and immediately destroy it. Okay, so we'll get back to talking about this thing in just a second. I'm going to epoxy this sucker back together so that I can do another video on it in the future. The way it broke, I might, oh yeah. It broke in a way that I can get it back together really well. I might be able to get this thing going again, and I'm going to give it a shot because I love this plane and think it's really fascinating. So I still have the iron. Yeah, it's right. It's right here, and I got the wedge out. It's around here someplace. Do you see the wedge, Nate? Oh, there it is. Okay, okay. I got the wedge. Everything's fine. We're gonna work all this out. It's totally fine. Listen, One of the reasons we have this live stream today is we're going to do a live auction over at tooltrader.net, and I want to show you the things that we're going to be auctioning off. So I already told you that we have the Stanley number 80 cabinet scraper. These aren't super rare or anything, but they're just wonderful tools. They work really well. They're mechanically simple. They're indestructible. This is one that I've used before. This was actually one that I used when I worked in furniture shops here in Cleveland. I had one at home that's hanging up there on my tool wall, but I wanted one I could take to work with me for doing stuff like doors and other kinds of projects where I had big surfaces to finish. So this is the one I had with me then. The blade is a little bit short, but it's totally still usable. A couple years of life left in it. And then fun fact I learned about these is that the blades out of miter saws, those big gigantic back saws for miter boxes, they're the exact same thickness as the blades in the number 80 cabinet scraper. And a lot of times you can't give those saws away. So if you buy one of those old miter saws that's in decent condition and you don't have a miter box and you don't know what to do with it, you can cut it up and make blades for your number 80 cabinet scraper. So we're going to be live auctioning this over at tooltrader.net. Go over there, join, put in your payment information, and you can be in the live auction. Next thing, this one's a good too. On the subject of scrapers, we are auctioning off my Stanley 112 scraper plane. This is a pretty rare tool and pretty sought after. I've always preferred the number 80 personally, so I haven't really used these a ton. This is a pretty early one. I think it's around 1910 based on the shape of the knob and the quality of the rosewood and stuff. This is a great example. What's really cool about it is the japanning is mostly intact. I don't think it's been refinished or anything, but it's got a ton of original finish. Nate kind of has body language that makes me think he wants to say something to me.
No, I'm just keeping an eye on
He's good.
everything.
He's keeping an eye on stuff. So this is a really good plane. We are going to be auctioning this one off on Tool Trader. These are no reserve, no minimum bid auctions. And if this goes for $10, it goes for $10. Like whatever these tools go for is what they're going to go for. Okay, but now I'm ready for the big reveal. You thought the big reveal was me breaking that plane in half with a hammer, but it's not. That's not the most interesting thing that's going to happen in this live stream. The most interesting thing that's going to happen is during this live stream, we are going to auction off a Preston 2500 router plane. This is the one that Paul Sellers has made so famous. I'm going to turn the heat down. Hold on a second. Oh, somebody has a super chat. What did we get for a super chat?
Well, first they said rest in peace to the plane.
No. I'm going to bring this plane back. This is going to be, I can fix this.
And they asked, do you think it'd be possible to make a handle for an old Stanley that's angled over to make it like a shooting plane?
So the answer to that question is, yes, it's possible, but the problem is the hardware. Let me finish talking about the Preston, and then I'll talk about that problem, the angled shooting plane thing. We'll get to that in just a second. This is the Preston 2500 router plane, made famous by Paul Sellers, probably the most sought after router plane in the world right now. We are auctioning this off over at tooltrader.net. No reserve, no opening bid. Whatever it goes for is what it goes for. If you don't know, what's cool about these is you can unscrew the handles, and then the blade and the collars and everything can be remounted where either of the handles are. And that doesn't seem impressive, but it actually gives you 3 positions. So you can use the plane like this, like normal. And then if you mount the cutter over here on this one, it becomes narrow and you can get in between things, like in between bookshelves. And then you can mount the cutter on the side of the other one. And that lets you swing the plane out like over a tenon, to do that tenon shaving trick to trim it flush with the side of the style or the apron or whatever you're doing. So it genuinely is a super interesting tool. I bought this one. It's a really long story. I'm not keeping it because I make it a habit of not using unreachable tools on this channel. All we use on this channel are regular, everyday tools. I like this and I kind of want to keep it and use it, but that's not setting a good example. I would rather use my Stanleys. I'd rather use my Compass Rose wooden router. I know those have been out of stock for a while. We're working on it, I promise. But we are auctioning this off this hour over on Tool Trader. You can go sign up, tooltrader.net. You can pre-bid if you're not going to be here. It's totally fine. And no matter what happens, by the end of this hour, this router plane is going to have a new owner. It comes with 2 cutters. It's 100% complete. It's in excellent condition. And it also comes with the fences, which are made for doing things like rabbits with it, or I'm not even 100% sure. I've never used a fence with a router plane before, but we have 2 fences that go along with it, made specifically for it. This is a super rare and valuable plane, and we are auctioning it off this hour, but you have to go over to tooltrader.net to get in that deal. I wasn't nervous a minute ago, but since I just broke a plane in half, now I'm really nervous. I'm going to shatter the Preston into a million pieces before we auction it off. Or even better, just as somebody wins, I'm going to drop it on a concrete floor and shatter it into a million pieces. It just seems like that kind of a day. I feel like I promised I was going to do something. Oh, I was going to explain the shooting plane thing. Nate, do we have any comments, questions, anything like that I should deal with?
One that you just mentioned, and what I think is actually a good question is somebody asked, what is a router plane? And I think we've been doing this for so long that we forget.
We forget. The tool nerds in the audience are like, oh my God, a Preston. And then other people are like, what's a router plane? This is a reasonable question. Let me do the shooting plane thing first. Hang on just a second. Let me get a screwdriver here. So the question is, could you take a hand plane like this and turn it to the side and then angle the handle up so that you can use it more comfortably for a shooting plane? And the answer is, making the handle isn't the problem. The problem is the hardware that then fixes the handle to the plane. So this is my sweetheart number 4, my day-to-day smoother. It's my favorite tool, honestly. And I'm taking off the mounting stem for the handle, because here's what happens is, yeah, you can make an angled tote, no problem, but then the original stem is at the wrong angle. It can't go into that hole. So then you need a short screw, and then Stanley used a weird pitch. So you can't use any off-the-shelf hardware. There's some people who have custom-made screws, or if you know a machinist, you can get somebody to cut you the screw. The pitch is out there. It's like 12, 13, 75. It's some ridiculous number. And Stanley did that on purpose because they didn't want people to be able to use off-the-shelf hardware to repair their planes. They wanted people to have to buy either new tools or Stanley replacement parts, which is fairly frustrating. So making a handle cocked to the side is easy. And in fact, lots of people have done it. The hard part is the hardware. Then the other question is, what is a router plane for? And the short answer is, it's a little bit like what gets done with a power router. It's for making things like grooves and dados and rabbets and channels and things like that. The difference is that a router plane, unlike a power router, isn't used for doing the rough stock removal. What you would do if you were making a dado, which is a channel in a piece of wood across the grain. So if you imagine I'm making bookshelves, this is the side of the shelf. It's laying down on its side, and I want to dado in a shelf. I want to cut a channel across the grain. I would saw 2 walls of that and chip out the waste with a chisel, and then it would be very uneven. The bottom wouldn't be smooth and wouldn't be level. The router plane registers on the face of the work, and the cutter drops below the plane of the work, and it allows you to cut the bottom of that channel perfectly parallel with the surface of your work. So when you put that shelf in there, there's no gap or problems, and it's a perfect tight fit. So once you do any amount of hand tool woodworking, you're going to come up with a situation where you just have to have a router plane. And most of the time, people just get a Stanley router, like one of these. This is the 71, which I think is a great router. I bought this at a flea market for not a lot of money. I got very fortunate, but they go for about 100 to 150 on eBay. They're not terrible. The Preston goes for between like $500 and $1,000. They go for crazy money. It's silly. So in the back half of the hour, we're going to put the Preston on for sale, but that's what a router plane is for. If you don't have a router plane yet, don't bid on the Preston. You don't need a super rare, sought-after Preston hand plane to start woodworking, a Stanley is a really good choice. Also, wooden routers. You can go on eBay a lot of the time and find a wooden router. They're often called a hag's tooth or an old woman's tooth, and it's a block of wood with a blade sticking out of it. Compass Rose made a kit for a few years that let you make your own router plane, and it had everything. And we really want to keep offering that kit, but we lost our supplier for the blades. And we had a supplier in the Czech Republic, and the war in Ukraine totally messed that up, and they can't make blades anymore, which is totally understandable. And also, we decided along the way, we want to be 100% made in USA company. So we're looking for a USA supplier for those blades. We have to find somebody. They have to give us a quote that we like. We have to pay for the whole run of blades, put the whole thing together again, and the price is going to go up. It's not going to be a $50 kit anymore because the price of the blades is probably going to triple or quadruple or something. So unfortunately, those kits are going to be out of stock for a little while, and when they come back, they're going to cost a little more. Oh, while we're talking about Compass Rose, though, you guys probably all know, but this week we came out with our dovetail square. So this is our newest product. It is a precision tri-square, so you can check and make sure things are square. This board is so out of square. And then it also has a dovetail marker built in. So we call it the dovetail square. It's got a 1-in-8 and a 1-in-5 pitch dovetail marker here. So you can lay out your dovetails on the end of the board. You can carry the lines to cut off your half pin waste around the edge. When you transfer your tail lines to your pin board, you can run your vertical lines. You only need one tool for all of your dovetail layout needs. You can get these at compassrosetools.com. Nate is going to drop a link down in the description to the dovetail squares because right now, and just for a little while, we're having a flash sale on these. So same price. These are still the same price, but when you buy a dovetail square, we're giving you a Hand Tool Hero for free. Anybody who doesn't know, the Hand Tool Hero is our 5-function everyday carry multi-tool for woodworkers. It unscrews chip breakers. It unscrews specialty planes like plow planes and Philister planes. It's got split nut spanners for your joinery saws. It'll do those weird split nuts on your joinery saws. And it's got a little angle guide at 25 degrees to let you check the bevels of your plane irons and chisels. We're right at the end of a 48-hour flash sale. It only goes, it's supposed to go until 9 a.m. tomorrow morning. That would be 48 hours, but I don't know if we even have enough stock to make them last that long. Nate, when you get a second, would you go into the back end of the store and see how many more of these we can do?
Yes.
Could you go check that for me? So I don't know how many of these we have left. They've been selling pretty quickly. But if you buy a dovetail square, we're going to give you a Hand Tool Hero for free. And we have a limited number of international Hand Tool Heroes for people in Canada, the UK, places like that. So you might get one with special international graphics if we still have some of those. We're going to keep that sale running as long as we still have some stock, at least until tomorrow morning. Don't email us to ask if the flash sale is still going on. If you look at the product on the Compass Rose website, it says flash sale in huge letters in the product description. As long as it still says flash sale, you're getting a free Hand Tool Hero. I will watch that carefully and I'll take it down when we're not doing that anymore. Nate, you got a number on those?
Yes, it looks like we have about 50 left.
So we have about 50 left. So we started with 200 of these yesterday and we've sold about 150. So we don't have a ton of this deal left. And probably by the end of this, we're going to be sold out of Hand Tool Heroes. And I don't know if we're going to make more or not. So this might be also your last chance to own a Hand Tool Hero for free if you buy a dovetail square. We have another super chat. Nate, what's up?
Rex, I'm trying to cut a long sliding dovetail to make a mortise gauge.
Actually, hold on. Nate, why don't you come over here so there's a prayer of you being in the microphone. Can you bring your computer?
Probably do.
Because I bet you guys can't hear Nate super well. He's not mic'd up. The mic is over here. But if he comes over here, you'll be able to hear him. Here he comes.
Okay. Rex, I'm trying to cut a long sliding dovetail to make a mortise gauge. I plow a 1/8-inch groove, and I've tried a scratch stock and custom-ish router blade to cut it. Can you think of an easier way?
To cut a sliding dovetail. No. Well, and I've done actually, Nate, the Moravian is right there. Could I have the Moravian, please? Thank you. So if people don't know, a sliding dovetail is not like a cabinet work dovetail, not like a casework dovetail. So these battens are put into the stool in a sliding dovetail. So the dovetail part is this angle right here. So that angle carries all the way through. And then these walnut battens, I'm going to turn the heat off again. Are you still okay, temperature-wise?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Let's see if we can keep the heat off for a little while longer because it's loud. And then these battens, these walnut battens, slide all the way through the seat, and then the legs are drilled up through them. So this is called a sliding dovetail. Now, the way I made this one is I sawed out most of the waist. You have to make the, well, for lack of a better term, there's the male part and the female part. And the female part, what you basically have to do is saw it out, and I used an angled batten. So I cut a piece of 2x4 to the angle that I needed, and I tacked it to the underside of the stool, and I laid a saw along it. And I actually had the best luck on that with a Japanese Ryoba saw because it was flexible. And that was for cutting the female part, the recess right here. And then for cutting the male part here, I did just use a scratch stock. So what I did is I sawed part of the joint, and then I tried to use a rabbet plane. Chris Schwarz, who's a big influence on me, he recommends using a rabbet plane. If you search, he's got an article on making a Moravian stool like that one, which I read and helped me to make mine. He used a rabbet plane to clean out his sliding dovetail, and I didn't have any luck with that. So I did use a scratch stock, and it's just a piece of saw blade with the angle of the sliding dovetail in that piece of blade there, and that let me cut out the rest of the waist on the sliding dovetail. It worked really well for me. That's the best advice I can give. And I know whoever's asking has probably seen that video already and probably knows what I did. And all I can say is that worked for me. I had a hard time with the rabbet plane method, and the scratch stock got the job done. Oh, another really important thing about the auction that we're going to run a little bit after 1/2 is that you can get a discount on those. So anybody who's new on Tool Trader and anybody who's buying a tool for the first time can use the code STARTNOW, all in caps. Nate will drop that in the chat right now. And that's going to give you $5 off your first purchase, no matter what it is. If you want to bid on one of these 3 items that we're about to live auction, when you sign up, it asks you if you have any discount codes or specialty codes. Put Start Now in there. And whatever your winning bid is, you're going to automatically get $5 off of that. And I don't expect like the 80, for instance, to go for a ton of money. So I think that when you bid on the number 80 and you get $5 off, you're going to get a pretty good discount on that. So again, the stuff that we are auctioning off is the Stanley number 80 cabinet scraper, the Stanley 112 scraper plane in especially nice condition, original Japanning, wood in super original condition, original shellac varnish finish, original iron, everything, all original, a really nice tool. Came out of the basement of an absolute tool hoarder here in Ohio. I stumbled down the basement steps on a day in 2017 and thought I had died and gone to heaven. And the only problem was that I was broke. I was incredibly broke. So I walked out of the paradise of tool hoarder sales with this and a back saw. But I didn't spend very much money on either one, so I still felt pretty proud of myself. That was in my more active estate sale, tag sale going days before I owned every tool in creation and didn't want to do that much anymore. And the other thing that we're auctioning off is the super rare and valuable Preston 2500 router plane. And we're going to start the auction for these. We'll start auctioning these in about 10 minutes. We have never done a live auction before. And it's one of the most important things about Tool Trader is that it has all these interesting social media features that makes it a really interesting place to sell tools and lets you as a seller have all these different ways to connect with your buyers. And one of them is live auctions, like we're going to demonstrate pretty soon. You go live, you talk about things, you break some of your tools in half just for fun, and then You put them up and people bid on them right then. And it's like a live auction in the real world. People are bidding and the computer is keeping track of who's got the high bid. And in maybe 1 minute or 2 minutes, it's over and somebody's won and they've got it. We've never done it before. This is going to be the first time us trying it, but I'm pretty excited about it. Oh, speaking of sales, we're having a 50% off sale on all of our plans at rexkruger.com/store. We only have a plan sale once a year, and this is it. You can get half off of everything. Nate is going to put a link to that down in the chat. You don't need a coupon code. There's no limit. Get as many plans as you want. I know I am talking about a lot of commercial stuff and advertising a ton of stuff right now. And I know that's a drag for some people. I totally get it. But the fact is we're in business and the holidays is when people spend money, and we are an unsponsored YouTube channel. We've never taken a sponsorship. We've never taken free equipment, free tools, anything like that. And that means we've got to hustle to make the money that pays the rent and keeps the heat on and stuff like that. So when it comes holiday time, we've got to sell a little bit. Hopefully, we can also entertain you while we're doing that by destroying our tools, doing live auctions, bringing up new things. That's how we want to do it. Nate, does anybody have any questions in the chat?
Yeah, there was somebody asking what is a good plane for beginners, and I had one more.
Okay, cool. A good plane for beginner, super easy. I have two answers for that. The first answer is Stanley number 5 or something similar to a number 5 is a great choice. You could really use this as your only plane. I could make just about anything that I'm capable of making, I could make with just one of these. That's half the answer. The other answer is that maybe even before you get a number 5, you need a plane for coarse stock removal. Assuming that you're a mostly hand tool woodworker and you're not going to use machinery, you need either a scrub plane or a 4 plane, spelled F-O-R-E. And it's the same thing. It's a plane with a big open mouth, not this plane, and an iron with a lot of curvature to it. And that lets you waste away material super quickly. It's the plane that a lot of people don't know about. And when they start woodworking and they get a plane working and they think, oh my God, I have to take a 1/4 inch off this piece. How am I ever going to do it with this plane? The answer is you're not. You need a scrub plane or a 4 plane to do that. And you can use a really cheap piece of garbage plane to make a totally fine scrub plane. I've done it on this channel. I have several videos about how to convert a cheap plane to a scrub plane. It's easy and it'll really get you going in woodworking. And then after that, number 5, and it doesn't make a huge difference who makes it. Stanley, Sargent, Craftsman, Miller's Falls, Keen Cutter, all of these brands made perfectly serviceable number 5 jack planes. And do you know where you can go to find a jack plane at a good price? You can go to tooltrader.net and buy one from one of your fellow woodworkers who's going to sell you a tool that's described honestly and at a good price. Nate, what's our other question?
The other question was, what is a book or video that you would suggest for trying to learn how to make a wooden hand plane?
There's a lot on that. So James Wright has done a number of them. He is really good. I wish there's a chance that my buddy Austin Papp is in the audience right now. He is a talented wooden plane maker that I know, and I know he has strong opinions about this. Austin, if you are in the chat, please drop a recommendation in there, and Nate can tell me. There's a famous book by a guy named Whelan, W-H-E-L-A-N, about making planes. Apparently, it's not great. Joshua Klein from Mortise and Tenon magazine wrote a really good article. He makes his own hand planes a lot of the time, and he's quite good at it. James Wright has made a number of videos. He just dove right in where I was too afraid to go. James is more man than I am. I'm happy to admit it. He dove in where I was too afraid to go, and he's mortised out several planes and done that work many times now. And then Bill something, it's going to come back to me, has a video series, an online course that's called Making an 18th Century Triplane or something like that. And it was shot at Roy Underhill's shop. And I'm trying to remember if it was a Lost Art Press video or a Popular Woodworking video. Either way, he makes an old, I think a double iron triplane out of a piece of wood, shows the whole process. It's really good. I think James Wright's videos and also Josh Klein's article from Mortise and Tenon those are really good places to get started. Another thing to do is to get an old hand plane and just look at it. A lot of old planes, like the one I just demolished, they still have the layout marks on them. So it's actually pretty easy to figure out what the original maker was doing. So that's something that can be really helpful. I'm looking around because I have, Nate,
Yep.
do you see the blue acoustic panel directly to your right?
Yeah.
Do you see the blue Duresta sign in the middle of it? The blue one in the middle.
Yep.
To the left of it, there's a curious cracked block of wood.
Yes,
Can you bring that to me?
Yes.
Yes. Well, you're about to find out. So this is actually a section of an old triplane. Triplane's like a jointer plane. And I cut that plane up because it was toast. It was not savable. And I used the wood to make chisel handles and stuff, but I saved the mouth. This is the mouth. So sometimes you find an old wooden plane that's smoked, and what you can do is you can cut it in half. And the inside of a plane like this that shows you how it was cut and sawn out and everything, this is everything you need to know. There's not much more to know about making a hand plane than what you can find out by just opening up a plane like this and having a look at the inside. And it'll teach you a lot. The other thing I've noticed is if you watch Chinese woodworkers make hand planes, a lot of the times they don't have plane makers. The carpenters just make their own. And I think Grandpa Amu does it on his channel. And there's this guy named Daddy Titi, that's his name, who makes a ton of hand planes. And man, those guys just get it done. They're really good at just making a plane and mortising it out very quickly. They don't take all day or anything. They can make one in a couple hours. And watching them really demystifies the process a lot of the time. All right, Nate, I feel like it's time for us to stop teasing people and do one of these auctions.
Yeah.
Because Nate's typing something right now, so he wants me to shut up for a second. Okay, we're gonna do this. I think we're gonna auction off the 80. That's a good place to start. And so we've never done this before, so please bear with us. One of the reasons we put the Stanley number 80 in is because, gotta turn off the heat again. One of the reasons we put the Stanley number 80 in the auction is because it's a great tool. It's not super, super valuable. And so if we mess up and end up selling it for $1, I'm not gonna cry. If I end up selling the Preston for $1, I'm gonna be really upset. So here we go. We're gonna get ready and we're gonna sell the Stanley 80 cabinet scraper in good condition with a short blade, but still totally usable, totally ready to go. I've used this tool personally. All right, Nate, we're gonna move that tool over to the, oh wait, I was supposed to say something about bidding. There was a thing I was supposed to say.
When we start the bidding, we want to let people know that it's time.
Bidding has begun, we'll say that. There was something I was supposed to remind people of. I don't remember. Okay.
Well, that they could use the start now, I think.
Okay, well, the start now we did. So everybody understands what's going on. So Nate is coming over because we're doing this all from an iPhone. Hey, there's Nate. And he is going to move the Stanley number 80. Yep, that one right there. We're going to move that into the
stage.
Move to stage. And we're going to, okay, so we're ready. We're going to start the auction and you guys can start placing your bids. The auction's going to keep going as long as people are bidding. And then when we don't get a bid for 10 or 15 seconds, it will end automatically. So we're about to start the auction in 3, 2, 1. And okay, so Rogue Work is currently winning. And the bid is at $78, and Rogue Work is still winning this one. We've got 18 bids, and now Young Jed is the winning bidder at $81. Young Jed at $81 for the Stanley number 80 cabinet scraper, and Young Jed won the auction at $81. Oh my God, that happened so quickly.
Yeah.
That was so fast. Woo! That was exciting.
Yeah, it was actually.
Wow. Okay. Let's take a second. I'm going to have a little bit of seltzer water and everything. I can't see my screen. Am I still streaming?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Doing this from a cell phone it's a lot. I'm going to have just a bit of my Polar Seltzer here. Not sponsored. And try to mellow out. Okay. All right. We're doing good. I think we're ready. I think we're ready to do another one. If anybody has questions, do we have any questions or any important reactions we should pass on to the audience? Okay.
All right.
Well, I guess we need to do the 112 then.
Yeah, we took one hit. Should we go for the next one?
We took one hit? What do you mean we took a hit?
Like, wow. Like.
Oh, yeah. Oh, we took a hit like drugs.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was like drugs. I'm super jacked on adrenaline right now. Not that I would know anything about that. I'm a family man. Okay, you ready? We're gonna put the 112. That one's currently at the bottom of the listing. We're gonna put the Stanley 112 scraper plane, and it's gonna go in, and we're gonna start bidding in 3, 2, 1. And now the Stanley 112 is up. We have 34 bids, and it is at $110. Oh my God! And Young JD is the winner again, at least for right now. The auction is not over. We're at $115, and Young Jed is still the winner. And oh my God, is it? No, it's at $120, and he's still the winner. $125. Oh my God, there's a bidding war between Young Jed and somebody else. Young Jed got in there again so fast. There's 3 more seconds, 2 seconds, 1 second. Boom! Sold for $130 to Young Jed. I am flying, ladies and gentlemen. This is the most exciting thing I've done all week. Woo! This is great. Man, all right, let's take a breather. Let's everybody get it together. We're gonna just have a beverage here. Wow, that was a lot. And we're going to we're gonna move on to the Preston. These have both sold. Congratulations to Young Jed, who won both of these tools and was super aggressive with the bidding. He knew what he wanted to happen on this. He got in, he did the bidding, and Nate, I have a feeling I know who might be about to win this Preston.
He's probably going to go for it.
I think there's a possibility that he's going to be the guy for this.
Oh, even though he said it now, broke.
He just said in the chat that he's broke now. Well, listen, you get full marks for being assertive and aggressive with your bidding, man. You got in, I assume it's a man. You got in there and bought those tools. So we're going to take a breather before we do the Preston. Don't forget, go on over to tooltrader.net. There's still time to sign up, put in your payment information, and put in the code START NOW. Take a whole $5 off whatever the price we end up getting for this thing is. Before we go over to that, let me just remind you that Compass Rose is still running our flash sale. You can get our dovetail square. It's our newest product, combining a tri-square and a dovetail layout gauge into the same tool. And then you can get a hand tool hero for free when you buy one of these. But that sale only goes until we run out, which is going to be pretty soon. We only have fewer than 50 left, or until 9 a.m. tomorrow morning. So you have a limited amount of time. If you go to the Compass Rose page that Nate is going to put in the chat right now, and it says flash sale on that auction, you're going to get a hand tool hero. And actually, Nate, it would probably be smart if you went over to Compass Rose and checked that inventory again.
Yep.
And see, just tell me that we're not out. That's all I need to know.
Okay, 2 seconds.
Because I would hate to tell people they can keep doing this and then find out that we're actually out. In fact, I'm going to get a laptop and check on the stock for those, because I don't want to tell people that they can still do this and not know. Wait, you got it over there? Here,
Yeah.
let me get in there real quick. I'm just going to check. Oh, we got to be in the back end. Here we go. Everybody be patient with us just for a second. And oh yeah, we're still doing great. So we still have several more of the dovetail square and the hand tool hero. So you can still grab those. Get plans half off at rexkruger.com/store. And we're going to get ready. We're going to get ready to do the Preston. What do you think, Nate? Does anybody have anything they want to say? Do they have any reaction to this? I want to know, what do people have to say about live selling. This is brand new to me.
Yeah, people are excited. People think this is cool.
All right, I think it's cool. I've never bought something like, well, I bought something once at a real auction. Should I show the one thing I bought at an auction, like ever in my life?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, people
All right.
want to see what you got going on.
Okay, hold on. I'm going to show you the one thing that I bought at an auction. Hold on. You guys are you're gonna come with me in sound out here. This thing's actually really big, so it's heavy. Oh, I forgot how heavy. My God. Oh. Nate, could you get the door?
Yep.
Yeah, no, this is it. This is it. Okay, so I went to an auction. Oh, good. Oh. I went to an auction. Am I still in frame? Can they see my face?
Yeah.
I went to an auction and I bought this. And what this is an outboard. It's an outboard tool rest for an enormous wood lathe. So if you wanted to turn the headstock of a wood lathe and turn some gigantic thing out away from the bed of the lathe, you would use this. This is the tool rest. And if we pretend that this is my cutting gouge, it would be on the rest like this, and you would guide it back and forth to do your turning. So there was this huge auction of this place called Rust Belt Reclamation, a Cleveland institution. They auctioned off a ton of stuff, and they had all kinds of salvage and things. And I went in, and I saw this, and I had a feeling that nobody else knew what this thing was. What are we doing, Nate?
Seeing if I can figure out how to clear the stage.
Oh. Oh, because we can't move that one into the stage right now, can we?
I mean, we could, but then, you know, the auction would start.
Well, yeah, but we will be able to in a minute.
Yeah.
So anyway, I saw this thing, and I had a feeling nobody else knew what it was. And the auction started, and the auctioneer just looked at it and said, "Who'll give me $50 for this?" And nobody said anything, and I didn't say anything either. And he said, "Who'll give me $40 for this?" Still nothing. And at this point, I knew that nobody knew what it was, and I got really excited. And he said, "Who will give me $30 for this?" And I said, $5. And he looked at me. He looked at me like, "Really, man? Like, seriously?" And I was like, "Yeah, really." And he says, "All right, I've got $5. Who will give me $6 for this?" And nobody knew what it was. And so nobody said anything. And he said, $6. And he kind of took a breath, like a defeated breath. And he looked back over to me and he said, $5 going once, $5 going twice, sold to the gentleman over there for $5. He said gentleman, but he was thinking cheapskate. I could tell. And I won this thing for $5. And I've used it before. I used it in a video where I made a Viking shield. And I turned the shield outboard on my homemade lathe. And I used this, and it was certainly worth $5 for that. And I could use it with my big current lathe, and it was $5. And it's too cool. It's too cool not to talk about when you talk about auctions. But that's the one thing I ever won at an auction, and it was pretty fun. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are ready for the Preston plane. Go on over. Ready? We're gonna start our bidding. We're ready to start. You ready, Nate?
Yeah.
Okay. In 3, 2, 1. Here we go. And no huge surprise, Young Jed is winning right now at a winning bid of $640. And we have 10 seconds left to go to this auction. And it might be that nobody else is going to bid because he pre-bid at such a high number. Nobody else can get in there. Ladies and gentlemen, Young Jed has swept the auction, won everything, and he lied. He said that he was out of money. He pretended to be broke when he threw down a bid of $640. Man, I was just pounding on that table, benched really hard right next to the Preston.
Yeah,
I genuinely could have broken that plane right now. I was joking about that earlier, but it seriously almost happened. I almost broke this thing. Can I go back that way? I can. Great. Yeah. Dude, Young Jed is officially the GOAT of online tool auctions. He won, I assume it's a he, I hope, he won the Stanley number 80 cabinet scraper, the Stanley 112 scraper plane, and the Preston 2500 router plane, made famous by Mr. Paul Sellers. He swept all of the auctions. I did not for a second think that one person was going to buy all of these tools. That was so exciting.
That's cool. That's cool.
Quick, Nate, go back in the shop and grab some more stuff for us to auction off. Let's go. Let's do some more of this. Everything must go. I am on a complete adrenaline high right now. This is fantastic. So listen, if you're not a Tool Trader member, you should be one. When you join Tool Trader, you can apply to be a seller. You just have to answer a couple of questions, and you can become a seller. We approve most people. All we ask is that you know something about woodworking tools, like be a woodworker. That's all you really need to be a seller on Tool Trader. And then you can go live just to talk about things or share video just like you would on YouTube. You can simulcast to Tool Trader and as many platforms as you want. We are simulcasting Tool Trader and YouTube right now. We could also throw in Instagram. We could throw in Facebook. We could throw in TikTok. If we didn't have any souls, we would do that. And all of these things are possible. And then you can live auction, just like we just did. I just shouted myself hoarse. My throat hurts now. So anybody who's a seller on Tool Trader can do exactly what we just did. You saw how ultra fast that stuff went. That was an adrenaline rush. It was really good. And the stuff that we were selling, it sold super fast. We don't have to wait. We don't have to wonder. And I'm going to save on shipping because I'm going to put all 3 of these things in one box on Monday and ship this stuff out, which I'm super excited about. Don't forget to get in on your flash sale. Buy a dovetail square, get a hand tool hero for free, and all of our plans are half off. Oh, last thing I got to tell you about, and this is super important. Don't go anywhere. We know that a lot of people who are listing, it's fine, it didn't break. A lot of people who are listing vintage tools have a hard time writing descriptions. It's not easy. And because we are a running Tool Trader and we want it to be the best service possible, we are on top of that. And we've created an AI description writer. So if you're a seller on Tool Trader, we've put a little sticky over on the left where all the chats are, and it says AI description writer on there. And it's an HTML form. You fill out 9 or 10 questions and it auto generates you a listing. And it works so well, we used it to create the listing text for all of today's auctions. So if you're a Tool Trader seller right now, you can use this thing. We developed it here in-house. Gary, who is our absolutely amazing web designer and software developer, the kid is a genius. I called him up one day and I was like, hey, people are having a hard time writing descriptions. Can you make a form where we answer 8 or 9 questions and then it uses AI to automatically write something? And he pauses for a second and he says, yeah, I could have that in like a week. I was like, great. And then he did it and it works. It's amazing. And a lot of you probably know I have a background as an English teacher. I'm a decent writer. I still think the description writer is pretty good because it's quick. You just answer a few questions and it spits out a multi-paragraph, grammatically correct, accurate description. It's what we used for all 3 of these. It's just one of those perks that you get. It's only on Tool Trader because we developed it. It's 100% proprietary. You're not going to find it on eBay or anywhere else. We've got it. Don't forget to use the code Start Now. Don't forget to get half off your plans at rexkruger.com. I think we got to pack it in. But Nate, is there anything else we got to cover? Any comments or questions we got to talk about before we shut off this live stream?
No, I think we're pretty good.
Do you have any parting thoughts for the people? He laughed. I asked if he had any parting thoughts, and he went like this.
No, I want to say thank you to everyone, and I think something we could keep in mind is that.
Wait, come on. Oh, there he is.
So
something we could keep in mind.
Yeah, so I want to say thank you, and something we can keep in mind is that if people go to use Tool Trader and list items, and in their listings they say that it can be used for live, we could do another auction stream where we auction off other people's listings.
And
So-
we can raid, which, since I'm not a
Yes.
live person, Jenna, what a raid is, it means that when this live stream ends, it would automatically dump the audience into somebody else's live stream. And you can do a chain of raids where it goes from one to the next, to the next, to the next. And as each person stops, the audience automatically goes to another. Since we had never done a live auction before, we decided not to try and do that before. I mean, who knew what was going to go wrong today? Nothing really went wrong. It was completely flawless stream from beginning to end. But that's another feature that we can try. And we're going to keep bringing more features to the Tool Trader platform. Thanks for putting up with me promoting everything under the sun today. December is a super important month for us. We make a big chunk of our income for the whole year. And I know I say it a lot, but we're an unsponsored channel. Thank you to my patrons at patreon.com/Rex Kruger. If it weren't for people who were patrons, who use Tool Trader, who bought plans, who bought tools from Compass Rose, these are the things that keep the lights on. Making YouTube videos does not do it. YouTube videos pay very, very little money. And since we don't do sponsorships or take free things or read ads, all these other hustles that we have going are absolutely essential. If they weren't, we wouldn't be doing them. We wouldn't waste your time with anything that didn't bring value to you and help us pay our bills and send our kids to school and all of that stuff. That's what we're about as a company, is supporting ourselves, supporting you in your woodworking, being honest and ethical, and only bringing you good products. Anyway, we wish you the warmest holiday season. Merry Christmas, or whatever winter holiday you happen to celebrate. From everybody here, we appreciate you all so much. Have a nice, safe weekend, and thanks so much for joining us.